I bought a new car, and weirdly for me this time, it's a fairly new one. It's only 4 years old, it only has 10,000 miles, and I bought it for $5 grand. Also, did I mention it's electric? May I introduce to you my Wheego LiFe? Now, I don't normally like to do this, but I'm going to talk about money. Now, I bought this car for $5 grand, which may sound cheap, and it is, but it'll sound unfathomably cheap once I tell you the original sticker price on this car. Now, the base price on a Wheego, when it was new, was already unreasonably expensive, but this car is absolutely loaded with an option, so that rose the sticker price even more. The MSRP for this car was $35,990. That means in its short 4-year lifespan, it's lost 86% of its value. 86%. Let's be fair, they didn't pay the original sticker price when it was new, because I'm sure there were discounts, and you gotta remember this is an electric car, so there were federal tax credits, at least $7,500 worth. Now, my Wheego in particular isn't exactly the best example. It has only 10,000 miles on it, but they're 10,000 battle-hardened miles. The previous owner of this car owned a heating and cooling company, and he bought it through the business to use for the business to go get estimates and run about and stuff. He also uses it as a daily driver and whatnot, and he put quite a few scars on it. He also told me that he would have kept it if it was a pickup because it would have been more useful to him, but I imagine he was just sick of it. I would be too after 4 years. Now, I'd like to tell you about the car now, because if you've ever heard of it at all, you likely know very little about it.
The first model Wheego produced was called the Whip. It went on sale in 2009 with a range of 40 miles and a max speed of just 25. It was designated a low-speed vehicle and could only be used on streets with a speed limit of 35 or less, depending on the state. It was basically a fancy golf cart, but it was a good stopgap for Wheego to make some income while figuring out safety regulations.
Later on, after they got all the government regulations sussed out, they introduced this, the LiFe. It's basically the same car as the Whip, but it has more safety, more range, more power, and highway capability. It has a 30 kilowatt hour LiFePO 4 battery, hence the name, giving a range of 100 miles, and it has a motor that produces 60 horsepower and 95 torques. Unfortunately, it weighs 2,800 pounds. It has a top speed of exactly 65. If you go over 65, it will use regen braking to slow you back down. And it takes a while to get there. The 0 to 60 time is, well, I don't know, but it's slow. It's highway capable, not highway proficient. Wheego Electric Cars Incorporated was formed as a spin-out from Rough and Tough Electric Vehicles, a manufacturer of battery-powered recreational electric vehicles. I got that directly from Wikipedia. As a cash-strapped startup, they didn't exactly have enough money to build a car from scratch, so what they did instead was they imported the body shell of an existing car from an existing car company. And that's where the problems began. Because the existing car company they chose was Shuanghuan, a stereotypical Chinese car company. Let me briefly introduce to you some of the cars that Shuanghuan has made.
There's the CEO, which looks nothing like the BMW X5, says the Chinese government. There's this small SUV, which they've brazenly named the SRV. And the Wheego, well, the Wheego's based off the Shuanghuan Noble, which... yeah.
The conversion from Noble to the electric LiFe is pretty thorough. They started out with replacing the rear seats and underseat storage with a literal buttload of batteries. You can even still see the hooks in here where the rear seats used to attach to. There's even more batteries underneath the car. Under the hood, they swapped out the engine and transmission, which were probably abysmal, with the motor and gearbox. As a side note, the hood hinges are so stiff they're holding the hood up without the rod. To meet safety regulations, they had to structurally reinforce the body shell that they got from China. I have no idea what they had to do, I just know that they had to do it. And I cannot find crash test ratings for this car anywhere. I assume they exist because it's on the road, but I can't find them. They've replaced the headlights with these DOT regulation headlights that are already cloudy and full of water.
In the cabin, they replaced the instrument cluster with this custom-made informational screen, and they fitted a radio that they presumably bought at Best Buy. For direction controls, they've given you this shifter that I'm pretty sure they stole from a 95 Lexus. The last 2 notches are even blocked out. The rest of the interior is all Shuanghuan and terrible.
They've done a pretty thorough job of rebadging the car to Wheego, although the rear Wheego badge is delaminating, the front one's missing entirely. The Wheego sticker on my key fob peeled off to reveal the Shuanghuan logo, and there's evidence around the car of Wheego stickers covering up old Shuanghuan stickers. Now, I don't have a solid figure for how many Wheego LiFes exist, but according to one website I found, the combined sales figure for Wheego whips and LiFes was somewhere around 400. So using the power of guessing, I'm going to say that about 200 Wheego LiFes exist, making it by far the rarest car I have ever owned. In case you're wondering, Wheego, the company, is still around, although they don't make cars anymore, and they haven't since 2013. They're now a technology company, making electric drivetrains or autonomous cars or something. I don't know. They're not making cars anymore, so I can't buy from them. So I bought a Chinese smart car knockoff that was converted to electric by a company in Georgia in a factory in California on a shoestring budget, and then sold at outrageous prices. Now I've bought it for $5 to relentlessly make fun of it while commuting to work in misery. But hey, at least it has a tailgate to sit on, like a smart car. This was just an informational introduction to this car. I'm going to go way more in depth about my life in the aging review video in several weeks' time. To give you an idea of what to expect from that video, here's the window switch in my hand, here's the sound it makes when you use the brakes, and here's the sound it makes when you take the key out with the headlights on.